Money is the sole reason why we start most of the startups. It is the end goal, it is what we aspire to make. But in order to get money, you need to first invest money. And you don't necessarily need to invest your own money. Sometimes you can invest somebody else's money, where funding comes into play. But do you really actually need the funds to create a company? Because sometimes you actually don't. If you want to build a startup which does not require a lot of operational cost, for example, a digital startup, then it is completely different compared to when you want to start a restaurant or a bank or something like that. I mean, bank is an extreme, but you get the point. Now, most of the time where money gets spent is production development, where about 30 to 50% of money gets spent. And I would say getting a startup done from zero is quite hard, and I would advise anyone to have somebody within already in the team that knows the development. Second place the money gets spent on is the team and the salaries. Obviously, you need to pay people to work for you, or you need to pay them a percentage of the company. Sometimes you can pay them a high percentage with a buyout. So for example, I'll be giving them 14% or 15% of the earnings until my company reaches 100,000 in revenue. Now, I had a talk with one of my professors actually about that. Do you really actually need to pay the salaries of the team? Can't you just employ free workers or not pay them as much? But turns out if you want to actually get funded, the investors look at the salaries of the team. If the team is not getting paid well enough, or the CEO is not getting paid well enough, they're more likely not to invest into the company, which is kind of counterintuitive. You're spending money on yourself, but actually makes sense, because if the team is not healthy and if the team cannot perform at their best with all the functionality and everything in their life sorted out, the company will not perform at their best either. So paying your team salaries is very important, not only for your own success, but also for getting funded. Marketing is a place where you can splurge out and spend infinite amount of money, but you have to be realistic with some things. Sometimes spending that much amount of money is not logical for you at this stage of the company. Sometimes starting small makes more sense. So you have to make that kind of a guess of, do you really need that kind of money to make paid ads, run billboards or stuff like that? You're still a startup, think like a startup. And the last place where it depends if you spend a lot of money or you don't spend money at all is office spaces and renting places. If you're making a digital startup, I feel like nowadays if you can get away with being remote, so not having an office can work for you. But personally for me, I feel like having an office is a benefit, as you get the team together and you can work together. But obviously nowadays with many teams being like all over the world, it is not as important as it was before. Other things that you possibly have to pay for are legal fees, HR tools, and other tools that your company might use during the production. If your programmer needs a specific software, it is necessary to spend that money. There are many different ways to get the money, and I'm going to talk about most of them, as well as I'm going to talk about my case and why I went with the choices that I made. So first of all, it is bootstrapping. So what is bootstrapping? It is basically funding yourself for the company. So if you have some kind of fund or personal savings, you can put it into a brand new startup and start working from there. Now, second option is friends and family. You can basically borrow money from friends and family, but it creates a not so pleasant relationship between your family and friends. I personally don't do it because of that reason. But yeah, grants and competitions are most likely the quote-unquote most interesting way to get money, just because if you're a brand new startup and you win a grant or competition, it gives you credibility to other investors, as well as it is a non-dilutive funding plan, meaning that you don't lose a percentage of the company. Now, there are also accelerator slash incubator programs, which, for example, are from Google or from Techstarts or companies like that. What they do is sometimes they invest into brand new startups and they fund you for some sufficient amount of money, but they take away a percentage of your company. Then there are angel investors, which are basically high net worth individuals who fund some startups with their own money. And last is probably the biggest is the venture capitals. Venture capitals are often known as VCs, are professional firms that invest into startups, and they might make money off of that. They basically take a percentage of the company. Oh, and actually, there's also another one, crowdfunding, which basically is a Kickstarter. So random people can invest into your company. But most of the time, like sometimes your ideas get stolen from Kickstarter, and it's very common. As I was a brand new startup, I tried to go into competitions and I tried bootstrapping myself. Now, why didn't I do something else? Well, I could bootstrap the project just because I didn't have a lot of operational or initial costs. So it was an option for me. But for some people, I guess, if you're not a developer or you cannot find somebody who's a developer within your team, you need to pay in bootstrapping a lot more. In terms of competitions, I feel like the project is quite interesting for these types of competitions, and honestly, you don't lose anything by attending those competitions. You get more experience in pitching to different types of people. Now, I am also trying to get into an accelerator of Google. I'll keep you posted on that, but let's move on to venture capitals. Venture capitals don't necessarily invest into early on companies. They like to see more of proof of concept. And currently, as I have literally 0 users, I cannot go there and offer them something that they will accept. And crowdfunding, obviously I didn't go for crowdfunding as I didn't want my idea to be stolen. And that is a big problem there. That said, I will also try to get investors from my own university, as a lot of my teachers / people that work here are actually angel investors. I was lucky to get into a university which has a lot of connections as well as a lot of funds, and I'm going to try to use that. So I guess advice from me would be to use whatever you have and to try to contact different people who know other people. A really good example of that would be my AI teacher who connected me to a Google Startup Hub, which I would have never gone to if not this teacher. Now, do you really need money? It depends. If you're building a startup that requires a lot of operational cost or initial expenses, then probably yes. But if you're building something that can be built with, let's just say $1,000, then probably you can do it yourself, and you don't need that amount of money right at the start. I get it. It is very hard, and it is very hard for me as well to not have money and try to do something with myself. I'm a university student. I don't even have a job. So for some people watching this video, probably it's going to be easier. But I feel like bootstrapping yourself at the start is the easiest / the best way to go.